welcome. My name is Markus. I'm the founder and CTO of ViewAR. I will tell you today, show you a few scenarios of our system and how to create and publish applications. I won't bore you with a lot of slides. I'll more do it live demos, and I'll show you how to actually create some applications. Before we dive into this, I want to show you a quick feature overview of projects that we have been doing in the past years and features that our system has. It's a quick video, maybe even too quick. We have our origin in product visualization, as in visualizing 3D items in the environment. We also did a lot of parametric models, as in scaling objects to a parametric size, even visualizing specific shadows. We did a lot with object tracking, recognizing objects for instructions. And also we have capabilities of remote assistance, using streaming for remote assistance. And we also display IoT data using object tracking. We do a lot with indoor navigation, as in guiding through buildings, stores. Currently, we're building a system called GuideBot. It's a virtual character guiding you through stores, museums, and so on. And obviously, we did a bit of advertising as well. And architecture, real estate is obviously in our focus as well, as in seeing buildings, configuring apartments, and yeah, we also did HoloLens applications in the field of IoT and mechanical support. So here you see a HoloLens application of a mechanics guy guided to a turbine and seeing live data on the site. We also dived into depth sensing and scanning abilities. So this is an application for Lufthansa Cargo, where you can walk around cargo loads to scan cargo loads to compute the volume. So those are a few applications that we did in the past years, but I actually want to show you some live demos of how easy it is to create AR applications nowadays. So what I'll do is I'll go to our developer portal, and there I can log in. And once I logged in, I can click on my apps. I can create a new app. Here we're in the so-called template selection. So the approach we go for is we create so-called templates for different scenarios, and then we let users choose from these templates and give them kind of a turnkey solution so they can be set right away. So, for example, we have some furniture templates running with ARKit, running with Wikitude. We have some wall art templates. We have some architectural stuff. We have object tracking from various providers, navigation templates, and so on. I'll now go through creating an application for a furniture scenario. So once I click Next, it's asking me for the application name. Let's enter AWE demo as an application name. And now it's taking me to the Style App section. So the Style App section is meant to let a user configure an application. And I'll show you a few options. It takes a moment to load. On the left side, we're going to see our app preview. And on the right side, we have the abilities of changing our application and styling it. So this is how the application, the template looks initially. And what I can do now is I can select, for example, a different logo to style this application. So for example, let's take this sample logo, and as you can see, it refreshes. I can also change stuff like the background. And then I can try out different devices. So for example, switch to an iPad and change orientation of the iPad. I can even change colors of the buttons. Let's turn this into red, for example. And under features, I can activate or deactivate features. So for example, loading projects can be enabled or disabled. And I can save this configuration that I just created to the cloud. And once I've saved this application, I'll go back to my screen share. Maybe you remember that I entered an app bundle ID using awe.demo. And what I can do now is I can open the ViewAR SDK app. That's a publicly available application. You don't need any development environment or anything like that. You just open the application and you enter which app you want to start. You press start. It will now download the user interface and the customizations for the user interface. Taking a moment here. And now the ViewAR SDK app has transformed into the application that we just created. So I'll show you a few features that we have right out of the box. I'll step down here. If we film the floor, it's calibrating the ground, and I can then start inserting items in my environment. And for example, I can also pick an item where I can switch materials. So let's put this here. As you can see, we're really good in getting the details to work nicely, and features that we have like switching materials and so on. And I can also take a screenshot of this scenario and then share it via an email or Facebook, whatsoever. And yeah, so that's a basic feature set. I can also show you a feature that we call room capture, which also comes with our furniture template. Basically, I'm filming the ground. Just a second, I think I need a fresh boot on this. There we go. So once the ground is initialized, I can actually film the corners of my room. Let's say my room would go from here to here, and let's take this corner. Let's now close it. And now I can define the height of my room. And it will then ask me to define doors. So for example, I can say I have a door from here to here, and it will ask me to define some windows. So let's say here would be a window, and another one over here. And once I confirm that, it turns this representation into a 3D reconstruction of a room. So basically now I'm kind of in my virtual room using AR tracking, but I can obviously see this in a VR perspective as well and add items to that perspective and so on. So this is a typical example of how we approach furniture as an industry, with a concrete toolkit, with a concrete feature set to achieve this kind of scenario. I now want to get a bit more technical, as in, let's say, because you might say, what if I want to change more as colors and so on, and you actually want to change code of an application. So in order to do that, we have created, just a second. We have created a command line interface. So let me actually make that a bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing here. So we have a command line interface called ViewAR CLI. And what I can do with that is I can create an interface, a directory. For example, let's say AWE demo. And I go into AWE demo folder, and I start the ViewAR CLI with a command init, which will initialize a bare application. So it now asks me with which account I want to do this. By the way, ViewAR CLI is available via NPM if you're familiar with those technologies. I'm now selecting that I want to do a sample project. I'm selecting base 6 as a sample, and I'm entering awe.cli as a bundle ID. It's asking me for a version. I'm confirming. Now I can choose which tracking I want to have. Let's pick an ARKit tracking, and now the system will check out the code from a sample repository and give you full access to what you have been seeing here as in a feature set. And this is basically how we work. So we have the templates as ready to use for styling, and we have the source code of those templates available, so you can check out the source code and run this locally for local development and so on. And yeah, it takes a few moments to install the dependencies. Any questions so far?
Hey, I'm sorry if I missed this and you had it earlier on, but how old's the company and how long have you guys been putting this together?
We've been putting this together in the past 7 years. We're 12 people now, and headquartered in Austria, Vienna. So yeah, what the CLI is now doing, it's compiling the application for the very first time and uploading the bundle to the server. So basically, you can access it from wherever. So we're decentralizing the different parts of creating an application. A 3D designer can upload his content via our website, while the developer is creating the application code. And so this decentralization is very supportive in those cases. And fortunately, it's taking forever here with the Wi-Fi, but I think we're almost there. I can actually show you a bit of the file structure that we just created. So we created AWE demo, and now we have a source folder, which, for example, contains an index.js and an index.html. And let me quickly show you how we initialize our system and basically how that works in JavaScript. So basically, our system is included here as a package and initialized with this line. And yeah, then we create some basic containers and basic UIs. And sorry, that was now. I wanted to get back to the console. Okay, here we go. So basically, once the application has compiled, initially we have 4 ways of starting the application. I can try the SDK app and just run AWE CLI, or I can run a command called npm run start. This will run the local source code in my browser, and I can then start developing, debugging, and creating my application, and then I can just use the npm deploy command to upload it to the server. So that's basically a quick introduction of what you can do with our system and how you can use it. If I'm running it in the browser, by the way, which is also a great thing for product visualization, then I can create, for example, a virtual room layout and use the VR functions for this furniture template. And yeah, I think we ran out of time. Any questions? Yeah, so thanks for your time. We're at booth 512. Also, we're demoing our guidebot application at the show. So yeah, happy to hear feedback from you. Thanks for listening.